All right. Now, good morning officially. I am Rachel London, the Executive Director of the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council and the Chair of the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Coalition, your hosts here today. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to DD Day at the Legislature 2024. It is so good to see all of you again. This year's theme is 25 years since Olmsted, Invest in Community. The Olmsted decision changed policy from a segregated institutional service model to one that promotes community-based supports. We've come a long way, and we have a long way to go. And that's why we're here again, because we know it takes all of us to continue to create change and improve lives. All 700 of us that are here today and hundreds more watching the live stream on Facebook. We come together once again to show our strength, to learn, and to advocate. As in previous years, today's event is sponsored by the Developmental Disabilities Coalition, and I want to thank the leadership and staff of each of our organizations for all that you all did to pull this off. It truly takes a village, and I am so glad and grateful that you are part of mine. So the beginning of today, like usual, will move quickly, as so many of our legislative champions want to say a few words, and we're excited to have all of them here. And of course, our governor will be joining us. So before I turn it over to them, remember, we are here today to work together to continue to ensure every Marylander with developmental disabilities and their families have the services and supports they need and want to live, learn, work, and play in the community. We appreciate each and every one of you. This is a day to have fun while learning from and teaching your fellow Marylanders. This is a day to grow as an advocate and to the you. I am certain that you will all leave here today better prepared to create change in Maryland than you were when you walked in the door. I am so excited to see all that we accomplish here today and all the progress that comes as a result of what we learn and what we teach each other. We encourage you to share your experiences at today's event in social media using the hashtag DDDay2024. I'm going to invite Laura Howell up here in a second to introduce our first speaker. But before I do that, I do want to acknowledge all the other legislators that have joined us today. Senator Jack Bailey from District 29, Calvert and St. Mary's County. Delegate Mike Griffith, District 35A in Cecil and Hartford counties. I'm looking around to make sure I don't miss anyone. Delegate Aaron Kaufman, District 18 in Montgomery County. And others will be joining us as we keep going. And we, of course, have our speakers. So, Laura, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Laura Howell, the CEO of MAX, which is the Maryland Association of Community Services, and I have the great pleasure of introducing a number of our incredible legislative champions. Our first speaker is well known to everyone in this room. He is a regular at DD Day and a huge champion for people with developmental disabilities and community providers. Senator Guy Gazzoni of District 13 in Howard County is the chairman of the Budget and Tax Committee, where he is very busy. If you see him, he frequently doesn't have a coat because he's running around trying to get things done. But he is never too busy to champion an issue for people with developmental disabilities, whether it was taking the lead on groundbreaking legislation in 2014 related to the minimum wage and rates for community providers and services, doing the same thing again in 2019 when he was in the Senate, and paying close attention to all the issues that we face and deal with in terms of the DDA budget and Medicaid and a lot of complicated issues. He is always there for our community. His passion for issues that impact the quality of life for people with developmental disabilities, their families, and direct support professionals is infectious. And he has been a role model to other legislators, and they tell us that, who have been inspired by his comments. So we are incredibly grateful. Please give a very warm welcome to Senator Kazani.
Good morning, DD community. All right. Well, I love this day. I love it when you come down. I love to see all of you. You know, inherent in that is um, just an appreciation and love for our system, for democracy. Democracy is a great thing. It is. It is because every single day, we can come together and work to build a better community, to build a better world, right? And that's why you're here. You know, I have so much respect for the fact that you're here, whether you're advocating for yourselves or for others. This is the fundamentals of democracy. This is the fundamentals of building a better world. You get it, you know it, and I'm so happy to be part of it with you. You know, we have challenges. Democracy also has a flip side, that if you're not paying attention, it can get away from you. We can lose the gains that we've made. But you know what? We're not going to make that mistake. This group is not going to make that mistake. You are here every single year. You're here because what you're doing matters so deeply to lots of people in this room and well beyond. And it matters in a bigger sense. It says who we are as a state, as a community. There's a pride that I have in knowing that you're here and knowing that you're communicating with my colleagues. And by the way, we got some great folks out there who are working really hard in the legislature. And you're going to meet them. And you're going to do a little convincing, but maybe not need to do too much convincing. But it's important you're here because it's important that it's never forgotten. Look, hi. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I heard earlier we're talking about the change in law 25 years ago. And I've seen a lot. And my job, as I think some of you know, is all about the budget. And I've been watching for 25 years the ups and downs. And folks might think that this is a tough budget period right now. Well, it's not as great as it has been. But we still have to maintain our priorities. We still have to keep our heads straight on what really matters most. And we're going to do that. The governor has put forth a budget that includes 3% rates, which is good. And it's good considering everything that's going on in the budget process right now. But I am always looking for the next step to make some more improvement. And I know that you're going to be right there helping pave the way to make those changes happen as the years go by. All right. So have a great day. I look forward to seeing you out there, and just keep it up. You're great. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Perfect person to start off our day. Next, we are incredibly fortunate to have with us Delegate Emily Shetty from District 18 in Montgomery County. She serves as the chair of the Health and Social Services Subcommittee for the House Appropriations Committee. And what that means is that she leads the subcommittee that reviews all of the funding for health agencies, including the Developmental Disabilities Administration. So she plays a key role in, as Chairman Gazzoni was talking about, setting funding for all of the supports and services that we need. Delegate Shetty understands the world of community services for people with developmental disabilities because when she chose to do a tremendous amount of service work with a community provider when she was a little bit younger. And as soon as we found out about that, we just say it every time we see her because it makes us so happy that she spent some time in our world. She's had an open door to DD advocates. She makes sure she understands the challenges and opportunities we face, and she is always expressing her support. So please give a warm welcome to Delegate Emily Shetty.
Good morning, everyone. This is an incredible room. I can feel the energy that you all are bringing to Annapolis today. And I'm so grateful you've taken the time to join us. It is incredibly intimidating to follow Senator Gazzone, who has so many incredible stories to share of how he has walked alongside of you for 25 years to be a champion for the developmental disabilities community. Let's give him a round of applause. Not only has he been there for all of the big fights, right? But he has been incredible about convening all of the important stakeholders who who have an incredibly important job of delivering services and ensuring that the providers that are helping our community members are getting reimbursed. And he has brought them all to the table to work alongside of you in order to achieve really big things. And so I'm intimidated but very grateful to be partners in this work. So thank you again, Senator Gazzone. As our friend here just shared, the developmental disabilities community has a really special place in my heart. When I was in high school, so quite a bit younger, I spent a year doing service work to different parts of the community I lived in at the time. It's the community I grew up in North Carolina. And I felt very compelled to give back. This was when I was a senior in high school. And so I sort of challenged myself to take on different projects every day for an entire year by partnering with different groups in our community. And one of them was a tiny group that some of you might be familiar with called the ARC. So so I had the privilege at that time of spending every Thursday after school with my friends at the ARC, supporting children up to age 21 at the time in their center there, and getting to work with the incredible team members who provided services on the ground. And it really shaped my view of how important these services are and how incredible this community is. And so since then, I'm like about double the age now. Um, so I've had an incredible opportunity to work in a variety of capacities supporting the disability community. And I'm incredibly honored to have that opportunity. So now in my role as the subcommittee chair, you have my word. I will stand alongside you and Senator Gazzone to support your incredible community going forward. Because while we have done much in the state of Maryland, there's so much more to do. But as the senator mentioned, we can't do it without you. We need you here, meeting with us in the interim, meeting with us during session, and coming and sharing your stories about the issues facing you, because every year they're a little bit different, right? Every year there's a slightly different challenge that we have to partner together on. So I want to conclude by sharing just a spotlight on my incredible friend and colleague, Delegate Aaron Kaufman from District 18. He is the newest member of the District 18 delegation, one of our new freshman delegates here in Annapolis. It's the second session, so he's a pro now. He is, we believe, the first individual state lawmaker, maybe in the country, with a lifelong permanent disability. And the voice that Aaron brings to the discussions we have in Annapolis is priceless. He has been a huge advocate and champion, joining the voices and the community here to help echo and bring all of these important issues that you all are bringing to us and really spotlight them and talk about them. So I just want to say thank you to Delegate Kaufman for your advocacy inside. And also just there again, one more thanks, one more note of gratitude to all of you for spending your day with us here in Annapolis. I look forward to seeing many of you in my office. I have like a stacked day of meetings with many of you. So thank you so much for inviting me to join you today. Thank you.
Wait, hang on, let me get your mic. It's on? Okay.
Well, well, thank you very much. And I promise, friends, I did not pay Delegate Shetty to say the kind words. She's been a dear friend for the past 16 years, and I'm just so grateful. And I've learned so much from her, and really could not have gotten through the last 16 years without her. So I'm very grateful. But I just want to talk briefly about, I grew up here. I was on the DD Council. I was on the Board of Disability Rights Maryland. I think Rachel's son Dylan, when I was on the DD Council, was maybe 3 or 4, and now he's driving. So that makes me feel very old. But I just briefly want to talk about how I will not tire, along with Delegate Shetty and along with Senator Gazone and his district mate Pam, in fighting for people with disabilities. And of course, lived experience is very important, friends, but we need allies in our fight, like Delegate Shetty, like Delegate Gazone, because just like the LGBTQ community didn't just have members of that community, their movement included straight allies, and the Chicano movement didn't include Mexicans and only Mexicans. So I really appreciate it. So I just briefly want to talk about a couple of the things that I'm working on. I'm working on a co-navigation bill, and thanks to the DD Coalition for supporting it. And I'm not blessed like my friend Emily, who is a math major with great math skills, but I'm trying to lower the fiscal note because what we're doing is very important. People who are deaf and blind have trouble with things like going to the bank, going to the grocery store, getting to doctor's appointments. And so this would allow them to have what's called a co-navigator assist them with it. The other important thing that I'm doing disability-wise is I am working very hard to change the term in the criminal code of Maryland from mental retardation to intellectual disability, because we all know that's a slur. And then I'm working on a bill related to a task force for the deaf and blind, and as well as making sure that on Judiciary Committee, inmates with disabilities and juveniles with disabilities are always taken care of. So, Tommy Lasorda said that and I will stop soon because I know Senator McCrae wants to speak, but Tommy Lasorda said that he bled Dodger blue, and I bleed disability blue, and it's great to be back among families. Are we fired up and ready to go? Because all right. I have to run to meet with my next meeting, but it's always a joy to be back with old friends that have frankly watched me grow up. Thank you so much. Yeah, and again, thank you to Delegate Shetty. The speaker could not have made a better choice in selecting her.
All right. Thank you, Delegate Kaufman, for joining us today. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to recognize Delegate Pam Gazzoni, District 13 from Howard County, who just joined us. Thank you so much for being here. She knows our world very well and has served on the board of the ARC Howard County and is one of our champions. Our next speaker, I'm just thrilled to welcome Senator Corey McCray from District 45 in Baltimore City. And he will tell you all about District 45, believe me. Senator McCray is the chair of the Budget and Tax Committee's Health and Human Service Subcommittee. So he does the same job in the Senate that Delegate Chetty does in the House. So they work very closely together around our budget issues and other budget issues. Again, in that role, he leads the effort to review the DDA budget. We know that there couldn't be a better chair of that subcommittee than Senator McCray, who has a record of really caring deeply. He is very passionate about Marylanders who face inequities, and he is passionate about learning our issues. We went out and did a fantastic visit a few months ago, and he just really demonstrated his passion for youth and the whole community in general. So we are thrilled to have him. Please give a very warm welcome to Senator Corey McCray.
Good morning. Good morning. It is so beautiful to be here and share this moment with you all. But if we can, I know that Aaron is walking at this moment, but I can still see him. If we can give him a big round of applause, y'all. Friends, as I think about people such as Delegate Kaufman, and I look at my fearless leader, Senator Gazzone, and I look at my colleague, my co-chair, Delegate Chairwoman Chetty, I do not have the beauty and the grace, but I do try my best. And I also see Delegate Gazzoni. These are champions that walk these halls in Annapolis each and every day, making sure that we move the needle in reference to developmental disabilities. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you for what you do each and every day. Friends, the reality is that you don't know what you do not know. But Senator Gazzone, as I think about that, the thing is about life is continuous learning about those things that you do not know. And each and every day, not just during the session, but also during the interim, I've been graced to have such good friends as Madam Director, to be able to show me across the state of Maryland, specifically in that city of Baltimore, the work that's taking place each and every day. And when I see those young scholars, that could be working with a program such as the ARC, Senator Gazzone, one of the things that we think about is that is my son. Because the same thing that I want for my son, I want for your son. The same thing that I want for my daughters, I want for your daughters. And then we go and we travel to that day program. And I look at the day program and I see all of those seniors that are having a great time within that day program. And I think about my mom. I think about my grandmom. And I say the same thing that I want for my mom or my grandmom is the same thing that I want for your mother or your grandmother. And the reality is that you all are doing the greatest opportunities for our young folks, our seniors, and those that may have developmental disabilities, and making sure that we can move as one inclusive Maryland and not just some of us in the state of Maryland. So I say thank you. But I say thank you knowing that the best thing that we can do is move not through talk, but through action. So I'm committed to not just this day, not just yesterday, but as we move forward, making sure that we're locked hand in hand when we think about the issues that move the entire state of Maryland forward and not just some of us forward. So I say, Madam Director, I'm committed, I'm ready, and I'm fired up. So let's go. Thank you again.
Sorry, guys. I'm much shorter. Ah, As we have a pause, as we wait for our next speaker, I want to take a moment and recognize a few additional people that have joined us. Delegate Charles Otto from District 38A, Somerset, Wacomico, and Worcester counties. And others that have joined us. From the Department of Disabilities, Secretary Carol Beatty. Deputy Secretary Lisa Belcastro. And Assistant Secretary of Programs Kim McKay. I think I saw. From the Department of Health, Secretary Laura Herrera Scott. Deputy Secretary Marlena Hutchinson. Robert White, Chief Operating Officer at DDA. Leslie Thompson, Acting Director of Programs. Rondo Workman, Director of Federal Programs and Integrity. From the Maryland State Department of Education, Dr. Antoine Hickman, the Assistant Superintendent, there's a long one, of the Division of Early Intervention and Special Education Services. No, I saw him. And Carmen Brown, Branch Chief at the Division of Early Intervention and Special Education Services. And last but certainly not least, I know you all are anticipating Governor Moore, but also want to thank his mom, Joy Moore, for being here. And his sister, Shawnee Moore, who stood up before she let Joy stand. Thank you all for joining us, and some of these folks you will hear from later this morning. So we're going to take a few-minute break as we wait for a couple of our key legislators to be walking in the door within 5 minutes. But if everyone can just kind of stay where they are, but feel free to chat. Thank you.
Okay, all right, goodness.
Good morning, everyone. If you could find your seats, we'll resume our program. It's right now.
All right, we're going to ask everybody to take their seats, please. Andy. Go get started again. So thank you everybody for coming back to us. Our next speaker is truly a great champion for us. Senator Craig Zucker from District 14 in Montgomery County has been a huge champion on our issues. That's right, please. Yep. Senator Zucker serves on the Budget and Taxation Committee, and he chairs the Capital Budget Subcommittee. But I have to say, more importantly to us, Senator Zucker has been part of and led and been a lead sponsor on many pieces of legislation that help our community, including being a huge champion for the End the Wait Act, which really cuts across disability community to try and get more people supports across many, many waivers, including the Developmental Disabilities Administration waivers and the autism waiver. Senator Zucker is a longtime friend. He is one of the people that is our first stop when we have to have a conversation, when we have a challenge, when we know somebody needs to understand what's happening and we need their help and guidance and strategy and support. He is top of the list. So please give a warm welcome to Senator Craig Zucker.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's going to be a beautiful day in Annapolis. What's interesting is I left the house today at 7:15, rolled in about 3 minutes ago, but on the way here, so it's about an hour and 25 minutes. And as I was about 20 minutes, 15 minutes outside of the hotel here, I called my wife and said, can you believe all this traffic? Everybody's coming to DD Day. So, but look, it's interesting is, I feel like I'm home here and, I appreciate the opportunity to be here for at least the last 11 years. But as I was thinking coming in, how appreciative I am of all of you. And how far we've come, but how much further we need to go. And I was thinking that, in my lifetime, I want to make sure, working with all of you and the great champions that you've seen in the legislature, where we are able to provide without a wait resources to everybody that needs it, to make sure that providers, family members as well, are getting the salaries that they deserve, and making sure that we can fill the positions to take care of just our wonderful community, and to make sure that it's continuing. So when people are aging out, what we're doing around the Division of Rehabilitative Services, where there's job training and job placement for anyone who wants it. This is the vision that I see. I believe this is what you all are working toward. And I think working together, we can make it happen in the next, 5 to 15 years. But it doesn't start today, but it continues today. So keep up the advocacy. You're continuing to make a difference. I mean, I think for those that have been coming to this and being great advocates in Annapolis for the many years, you've had to feel the change, not only from your longtime allies who are now real partners, but also new legislators who before you, at least I felt when I was a new legislator that when I was talking to some of my colleagues, there's like the kind of brick wall where they didn't really understand different communities, especially those that serve the most vulnerable in our community. But now I feel like they either have family members or they've heard enough from their peers, from their colleagues, from you all who are all those peers and colleagues on the difference that it's making toward services. So I just really came here this morning to say thank you. You are making a huge difference. So don't stop. Just keep on going. And together we're going to see big positive change. Thank you very much.
And you have to check out Craig's snazzy footwear. I love it. He's got his Chucks on there. Okay. All right. I don't think that Delegate Atterbury is in the room yet. I'm kind of looking around. No. Okay. So she's very close. So while we're waiting for her, I would like to have a sense of who's in the room. So I'm just going to call out some areas, and I think you should make some noise and some pride of where you're from. So in no particular order, I'm going to start with Baltimore County. Okay. Baltimore City. All right. Well, they set a high bar. How about Montgomery County? Okay. Well, we're done now. Okay. Don't be intimidated. Howard County. Good job. All right. How about Carroll County? Now I know we have some more Carroll County people in the room for sure. Frederick County? All right. Anne Arundel County. All right. How about Prince George's County? We may have to have a contest between. Okay. I don't think we did Harford County. They're innovators. They added the wave in case you missed it. All right. Let's see. Washington County. Very polite, very sedate. Okay. All right. Now I don't want to get into trouble. Let me so we have Allegheny and Garrett. Anybody? Nobody drove all the way in there. I bet they're wooing on Facebook Live right now. Okay. How about the Eastern Shore? Great job. All right. Did I miss anybody? Oh, you're right. Oh my gosh, Southern Maryland. Okay. St. Mary's County. Thank you. Calvert County. I know you're here. Charles, I'm getting to it. Charles County. Charles County thought they were going to catch me up, but they did not. Okay. All right. So I know Delegate Atterbury is like, has to be walking in the door any second. So okay, she is on her way. We're not going to take a break. We're not going to get up because everybody's so excited to see everybody. It's hard to get everybody back. So if you can just hang with us for a minute, she will be here and we will continue with our, okay. All right, hang on for 1 second. Okay. So we do have our next speaker. He is not Vanessa Atterbury. Delegate David Moon in 2023, our next speaker, was named the majority leader of the House of Delegates, right? And that makes him a very important person. He works very closely. He's from District 20 in Montgomery County. You have a very large Montgomery County contingent here, just FYI. We just established that. He obviously serves in a major leadership role, and he works closely with the Speaker of the House, Adrian Jones, to achieve significant legislative goals. Delegate Moon is an attorney. He served on the Judiciary Committee throughout his tenure in the House of Delegates, having first been elected in 2014. And Delegate Moon is really a champion for fairness and equity in our communities, and we're so happy to have him with us. Please welcome Delegate David Moon.
Good morning. Well, I am Delegate David Moon from Montgomery County, Maryland, but now taking a wider look at all of Maryland in my new role as the majority leader. And so I just want to start by saying these issues are not entirely new to me. Some years ago, when I first got to Annapolis, I was conscripted into an effort to help move along services for foster children who had severe developmental disabilities. So this is a very tiny slice of the overall policy puzzle. But just getting this very small population taken care of in Maryland was an epic battle. Multiple years, I had to cut deals that I don't want to talk about. And to this day, still probably haven't disclosed. But what was going on was we had kids, foster kids. These are wards of the state. We, the state, are the caretakers and parents of these children who had severe developmental disabilities requiring on-the-clock medical attention. And when they were aging out of the foster care system, the state was going to dump them out, and they were going to have a huge drop in services, and oh well, because they went from becoming foster kids to foster adults. Well, that's not an acceptable solution. And so we handled that. So why do I tell you? Yes, go ahead. You can applaud for that. And that was just for a couple $1,000,000 a year, again, to take care of the most severely developmentally disabled folks without a support network to take care of them. So why do I raise this story? Because sometimes it feels like we are constantly replaying the same scene over again. I saw the same issue on the docket this year with respect to children aging out of high school, and the same question about what was going to happen with services. And so that's a much larger piece of the puzzle than just the foster youth population that we were dealing with. And here we are almost 10 years later looking at these same issues. So I have some good news and I have some bad news. I'm going to give you the bad news first because that's how I like to roll. The bad news is, just as when we were having these problems with the foster children funding, here we are again. If you've picked up any local Maryland oriented news in the last few months, you will see that we are out of money again. And we're projecting deficits out into the future. Our school funding, our basic school funding and our basic transportation is all in jeopardy at the moment. But I know you know this story well, because one of my first lessons when I came down to Annapolis and yay, we got elected. Oh, there's no money. What a great time to be a public office holder was, well, but the amazing thing was we have all these groups come in. In those tight money years when I first got here, the one clear, I don't want to call you a winner, but the one group that I could point to that was able to do a little bit better than everybody else during those early rough budget years for me, it was all of you and the DD community here. So what's the good news? It's you. It's today. It's what's happening here. This is the good news, that I've seen this happen before when we run into tough times. And look, I don't like to pick winners and losers, but by you all being here in force like this, you're picking winners and losers by your participation. And this is all to say, it's very important. So thank you. But I'll leave you on a little bit more of a positive note because it's not all about the money. I did a quick scan of bills and I am heartened to see that once again, my colleagues in the House and the Senate have put together a robust agenda beyond the money. I'm seeing everything from how to better handle missing persons, how to protect people in the DD community from fraud and benefits abuse, how to protect the assets of people who don't have support networks, even things like updating offensive language that is still in the Maryland law referring to things like mental retardation. So you all have a lot of work ahead of you on a range of issues, the money and not the money. And so I wish you luck. But as I said, you are the good news. So once again, thank you on behalf of Speaker Adrian Jones and the entire House of Delegates. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in our offices later today.
Thank you so much for joining us. So our next speaker is here, and she is Delegate Vanessa Atterbury. And Delegate Atterbury represents District 13 in Howard County, and she is the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, where she leads her committee members in setting policy on an array of issues that affect all of us, including education policy that affects all children, including those with developmental disabilities. She is a committed ally to people with disabilities and to our community, and she is someone that we have come to count on in the legislature to champion our issues. And she is a powerful member. As a chair of a committee, she is in a rare group of people, and through her work, she has a lot that she has to focus on, but she always makes time for developmental disability advocates and to work on our issues. So please welcome Delegate Vanessa Atterbury.
Good morning, everyone. I am so energized. I was having a little rough morning, right? And I am so energized to see all of you here. I mean, if you first walk through the room, the overflow room, I mean, you all, as our majority leader said, I mean, you all are a powerful lobby. I really can't believe that all of you, this many folks are here. So I just want to applaud all of you for getting up at the crack of dawn and being here this morning. That takes a lot. So give yourselves a round of applause. Like was mentioned, I chair the Ways and Means Committee, where a lot of issues that you all care about come in front of my committee. And I think I just naturally care about these issues because I'm a human being, and also because I'm a mother. And so I just want to first thank the ARC. I want to thank Andy Culp for being an ally and someone that I can turn to when I have questions or when I think I have a great idea and I want to get support and technical knowledge about the issue. And I want to thank Rachel London as well from the Maryland Disabilities Council, because whenever I feel like there's an issue that we need to attack and I contact them, or vice versa, and they contact me, they are immediately on hand and ready with information and willing to do whatever it takes, quite frankly, to get the job done. So please give them a round of applause. So I'm going to try to be brief. I know you have a lot of great speakers. You just heard from one of my colleagues laughing at me. I said I'm going to try to be brief. So over the past couple years, I've been working on an issue that has been really important in my county, in Howard County, and I think statewide as well. And that deals with the burden of proof when it comes to responding to your children's IEPs and them being challenged. And quite frankly, what I feel is going up against the school system. I don't think that anyone should have to do that. I am an attorney by training and in practice for many years. And that's a hard thing to do when you're dealing with the legal system for anyone. So thank you. So I think the House really led on this issue. We passed local bills in Howard County multiple years in a row. Other counties in Baltimore City said, hey, we want to do that. We passed a statewide bill, and we just unfortunately did not have a meeting of the minds with the Senate, which happens often. And so, but what I want to do though is say thank you to President Ferguson. I don't know if he's been here yet, or I do know he is coming at some point in time, because we came up with a solution, right? We couldn't, he said, hey, this is an issue that we need to address. And so what we're having today, a hearing on, I'm presenting in front of Ways and Means, is House Bill 903, Access to Attorneys, Advocates, and Consultants for Special Education Program Fund. And so essentially, thank you. And I don't know, when I think about it, I think this might actually be a better solution to the problem. So what the bill does, it establishes an access to attorneys, advocates, and consultants in this special program. And the purpose is to provide funding and resources for eligible students with disabilities and their families who need legal advocacy and advice when going through these challenging times. You know, these times are emotional. It's your child. I know how I am when it comes to my children. And so you need advice. I also think this issue is really important for me personally, because we have lots of folks of color that I think are disproportionately affected by this issue. We have lots of folks that are lower class, socioeconomic status that are affected by this issue, folks that don't, English isn't their first language that is affected by this issue. And so I think this is a huge step, leaps and bounds in addressing this issue. So there's going to be $2 million put forward in the general fund for this. Thank you for this. The fund will be run by the Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Services. I'm not going to go through the whole bill, but quickly, an eligible student is someone who meets whatever income thresholds and whose change in placement you disagree as a parent, if you've been suspended or removed from school for more than 10 days, if your English is not your first language, and if you've been restrained or placed in seclusion for more than 10 times, then you're eligible to receive funds and advice and counsel under this issue. So again, I just want to thank the ARC for their support. They're going to be there testifying in the bill today. Hi, Madam Secretary. They will be there in support testifying in front of the bill today, and I'm looking forward to a great hearing. And those of you from District 13 who are coming to visit, as always, we will be there and we will greet you and see you later on today. So enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you very much.
I do want to thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to recognize Delegate Jared Solomon, just walked in the door, one of our champions. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, wait. And Delegate Kathy Forbes, also Baltimore County, also with us. So that is great. Feldmark. I'm sorry, Jessica Feldmark. I am so sorry. I can't see. If you knew how bad my eyes were, you would understand. Oh my gosh. Anyway, and I think it might be a trifecta for District 18. All of your colleagues have been here, so that's fantastic. We are, I think we are still waiting. Don't get up because we're so close to having the governor here. So everybody just hang tight. I don't know. Let me ask Delegate Solomon and Delegate Feldmark, would you like to make a few comments?
Good morning, everybody. This is incredible. And it's just really humbling even being given the opportunity to say a couple of words, because I see so many people in the audience who I've worked with, who have been in this fight, supporting this community, working for so many important things for literally their entire lives. My name's Delegate Jared Solomon. I have the honor of representing District 18, which is sort of the Connecticut Avenue corridor of Montgomery County. I serve as the Deputy Speaker Pro Tem. And honestly, it's really exciting to be here with you. I get to serve on the board of Jubilee, and I'm sure the Jubilee folks are here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So it's a real honor to not only get to represent Jubilee in the House of Delegates, but to be a part of building such an incredible community. And honestly, you being here today, and we walked into the first room and I was like, wait a minute, I hear the speaker, but I don't see anybody. Oh, this is the overflow space because the ballroom is literally packed and standing room only. And I know it's because you wanted to hear from me, not because you want to hear from the governor. But I raise that because it is so important that you are here, that you are authentically sharing your stories and telling us in the General Assembly what's important. Because there is no substitute for your self-advocacy, for you coming and telling us directly again what your community needs. And the fact that there are so many people, I mean, literally we saw a stream of folks as we were walking over here who were already getting ready for their meetings. And I just wanted to tell you how much of a difference it makes. We hear you. The budget is tight, but there is no better investment than the folks in this room. And so you have an ally, you have many allies in the General Assembly who are going to fight tooth and nail to make sure you all get what you need. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here and thank you for your work.
Good morning. What a crowd. What a beautiful, wonderful crowd. I'm Delegate Jessica Feldmark. It is my honor and privilege to represent District 12A in Howard County. And yay. So I serve on the Ways and Means Committee, and you heard from our fabulous Madam Chair, Delegate Atterbury earlier. And, you know, we really, in education policy, so value the partnership that we have as you guide us through understanding the needs and understanding the solutions that we need to put in place. I also serve on the election law subcommittee in Ways and Means, and there I am proud to be sponsoring legislation to make it easier for folks with disabilities to vote electronically. And, you know, this is an issue that we've been working on for a few years. And I think it's really sort of embodies one of the important principles in governing, which is sometimes we have to make tough choices. And sometimes we need to reject false choices, right? We do not need to choose between accessibility and security. We can have both. We can have both. We need to work on the tricky issues because there are some tricky issues, right? There are some hard pieces to figure out, but that's what we need to do. Figure them out and make sure that every voter, and every voter means every voter with any disability, has the ability to vote independently and privately. So I look forward to, you know, a wonderful day, but also just an ongoing partnership. Really, it is so important to hear from folks. And I'm going to give a little shout out. This is a little dangerous because I see lots of friends, but I need to give a shout out to my friend and neighbor and constituent, Matthew Plants, who is a tremendous advocate. And every time I see him, whether it is here in the halls in Annapolis or walking around Wild Lake in Columbia, every time I see him, he takes the opportunity to advocate and raise the issues that are important. So, and I know that that is true for everyone in this room. So keep up the good work. Let us know what we can do, and let's continue working together. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Delegate Solomon and Delegate Feldmark. All right, and okay. All right, so I'm going to turn things over to our coalition chair, Rachel London.
Dramatic pause. Maybe. I know, really. Everybody's anxiously waiting. I'm going to introduce the governor. I'm going to let him walk in the door because I'm not going to try and speak while he does that. I think so. Okay, it's okay. All right. I love it. I told you I had to wait. I knew that. I said right before you walked in, I'm not going to start speaking until he gets in here. But I have the true honor to introduce Maryland's Governor Wes Moore. So you should all know by now that he's the first Black governor of Maryland. A combat veteran, there's a long list. A Rhodes Scholar, an author, and a passionately committed leader. He's also a son, a brother, a husband, and a dad, and a dog dad, sorry. Can't leave out Tucker. What you may not know, but should, is he's a man with a plan. From day one, he has stayed true to his motto, leave no one behind, helping ensure the needs of all Marylanders, including those with developmental disabilities, are recognized, welcomed, and supported. Governor, it has been over a year, and you have continuously shown us what it means to partner, to create change, and advocate for what is important. On behalf of the developmental disabilities community, thank you. Thank you for those words. Thank you for making us a priority. And thank you to the Moore Miller administration for leading the way so no one is left behind.
Good morning. Oh, I'm so happy. Good morning, everybody. You all are so beautiful. You're so beautiful. This is Maryland, everybody. This is Maryland. And this is such a beautiful and important community in our state. You're our heartbeat. You're our spirit, you're our soul. And I'm so grateful for the leadership that you show and that you continue to show every single day. And it is an honor to be your governor. And I tell you, Rachel, we don't have a better leader in our entire state. We are so grateful because you are visionary, you are brilliant, you are committed, and you are so focused on humanity. And we're thankful for everything that you continue to do to make us all better. God bless you, and it's an honor to stand with you and practice every single day. to the entire Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council, to the Developmental Disabilities Coalition, for all the work that's happening, for making sure that it's not just that voices are heard, but that it's making sure that lives are prioritized. That as we have our legislative session, and also, by the way, can we please give it up for the remarkable members of the General Assembly who are here today? Our partners in the work who understand that this time, this moment, this legislative session, that we don't have a minute to waste. That at a time when people do feel uncertain, at a time when people feel unsure, we want to make sure the entire state hears with a very loud voice, and you all are going to make sure that the legislators and everyone in the state hears with a very loud voice that the developmental disability community is here to lead, is here to contribute, and is here to make sure that our state can be as powerful and as strong as possible. I'm grateful also to have such remarkable colleagues. I tell you, one of the things I get very excited about is I look at the caliber of people who repeatedly have raised their hands to say yes to serve. They don't have to. The people who are choosing to take time off from work, the people who are choosing to take time off from school to come and advocate, and also the people who are part of this administration who have said, this is a moment we're going to make it matter. And I'm talking about people like I see our remarkable Health Secretary, Laura Herrera Scott, and I just want to say thank you for your leadership that you continue to show every day for the Department of Health. Thank you. Talking about folks like the Assistant State Superintendent of the Department of Education, Dr. Antoine Hickman. Is Antoine? Great to see you, Antoine, and bless you and thank you for your leadership. I'm talking about, I heard that Tony Woods, our Secretary of Veterans Affairs, is here as well. Is Tony here? He's not here? All right, well, I'm gonna give him a shout out anyway, because he's extraordinary and what he's doing for our VA. But I'm also talking about the fact that we have the best Secretary of Disabilities in the entire country here in the state of Maryland, Ms. Carol Beatty. Yo, she's the best, and it's not even close. And this is a person who has served under Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter, because the thing that focuses her and the thing that drives her most is the people. And we're so, I'm thrilled to have her as a colleague. And as a state, we are thrilled to have you in this role. So bless you, Madam Secretary, and thank you so much. And for each and every one of you who understand what's at stake in this moment. And also the people understand, because we're talking about, we have, Marylanders with disabilities here today. We have family members. I got my own family members here. I got my mama and my sister here right now too. I gotta tell you, I love them so much, y'all. That's right. I'm talking about, we got advocates here. We got service providers here. We got lottie dottie everybody here. Because that's what's required to make change, right? What's required to make change is that everybody understands their power. Everybody understands their responsibility. Everybody understands that's not for this person to do it or not for that person to do it. That's for all of us to do it. Because that's what makes our state so strong, is when everybody is seen, when everybody is respected, when the policies and the laws that are being in place, that there are policies and laws that are done to uplift everybody and not separate some. When people understand the natural genius and the natural power that everybody possesses within them, that is a natural contribution to our entire state. And our state will never be strong if we do not have everyone as part of that process. That doesn't just include the people in this room. It includes the people who you're advocating for. Because I know for each and every one of you, you're not just here in Annapolis to advocate for yourselves. You're here in Annapolis to advocate for family members. You're here in Annapolis to advocate for friends. You're here in Annapolis to advocate for community members. You're here in Annapolis to advocate for all of us. And I thank you for keeping that in your heart and in your spirit. Is that every door that you will knock on today, every person you will meet, every hand that you will shake, I want you to remind them that you are not alone. I want you to remind them that you are an advocate and you are a voice for people who might not be in this room. I want you to remind them that everywhere that you go, you have an army with you. And that your army is led by love. And that you believe and that we believe that this needs to be a state that leads with love. And I want you to know, and I want everybody to truly hear what I'm saying, that as long as I'm the governor, we will be a state and you will have a governor who will continue to support the Department of Disabilities, the people who work there, and also the mission that they are fulfilling. Maryland is now the only state in the country with a cabinet level department that is focused on disability policy. And we need to honor that tradition, not just with words, but also with action and also budget. That we've hired a new statewide coordinator for autism strategy and a project search statewide coordinator to help young people with disabilities. We've worked with our unions for the second year in a row to deliver a raise to our state workers that is long overdue to make sure that their work is honored and respected and actually being paid for. And by the way, that includes at the Developmental Disabilities Administration. Everybody's going to get a raise because everyone deserves it. And in our first year, it's actually pretty amazing we've only been here for 13 months, y'all. We got a lot of good stuff done together in just 13 months. And let's be clear, we are just getting started. But we've done this by making sure that we have a unified goal. And that unified goal is making sure that we are leaving no one behind. That unified goal is understanding nothing about us without us. And that unified goal is making sure that we are going to honor our children and our families. When you're a parent, you will do anything for something that's in the best interest of your children. You want to change the prospect of my day, any day. Tell me something that's going to happen, something is happening with my children. My whole day changes, right? There's nothing that we won't do to make sure that we're going to protect and honor and make sure that they are seen and safe in their own place, in their own space, and in their own skin. I want you all to know that I understand that deeply, internally. And the passion for all the parents and all the guardians that you have for your children and for your loved ones, I respect that more than you know. Because you're very welcome. Because there's nothing that you want more for your children than for them to be seen. And for them to know that their dreams and their aspirations, that they should not have to carry those dreams and their aspirations on their own. That all of us collectively should help them carry them. And we should want the same. We want Maryland to be the most accepting and the most accessible place for young people with disabilities in the entire country. And I want to say it's because of your help. It's because of your advocacy. It's because of your partnership that Maryland is well on its way. Where last year, the Department of Disabilities moved in partnership with the Developmental Disabilities Council to create a landmark framework for inclusive playgrounds so that young people who are in playgrounds can play in safety and play in fun the way that the playgrounds are designed and intended for every single young person in our state and not just some. Because we have to make sure that every single child in our state is seen and supported. Inclusivity is not a talking point for us. Inclusivity is a governing philosophy. It's a lens on how we look at this work. And not just because it sounds good, not because it feels good, but because in order to have a thriving state, we need to make sure that everyone in the state is a part of that. And I remember I was actually with Secretary Beatty over in Baltimore for a ribbon cutting for one of the inclusive playgrounds that were sponsored by Remarkable Work. And we were there at the Children's Guild. And I had a chance to meet a young man named Ferris. And I was speaking to his mom, and he was saying the whole week, he was talking about how excited he was to welcome you to his playground. And he was so happy. When we first pulled up, and immediately I got a chance to meet Ferris, and immediately he came up and took me by the hand. And we were supposed to go to the stage first, but he just wanted to bring me to the playground. And we got a chance to go on the swings, got a chance to go on the slides, and got a chance to really see why Ferris was so proud of his playground. Ferris is in second grade. His parents are immigrants to the United States, and he's on the autism spectrum. And I got to spend some time with him on his playground. And first of all, I got to tell you, he was much more agile and quick on those slides than I ever was. He was like, "You want to come with me?" I was like, "Nah, I'm going to let you do it, man." I got old bones. That wasn't going to work for me. But I loved his joy. I loved his curiosity. I loved his enthusiasm. But more than anything else, I loved his freedom. He was just living in freedom and living in happiness. And that's all we want for all of our children. Live in freedom. He blessed me that day. But that happened because of you. And so the thing that I would ask you as you're going out today for Advocacy Day, as you're meeting with legislators, as you're meeting with lawmakers, as you're meeting with cabinet secretaries, as you're meeting with the governor and lieutenant governor, don't lose your joy. Don't lose your hope. Don't lose your hope. Don't lose it. Never forget who you are advocating for. Never forget your why. If you never forget who you are advocating for, you will never stop advocating. If you never forget who you are fighting for, you will never stop fighting. And in order for this to be Maryland's decade, and I want to be clear, this is Maryland's decade. I've let every other state know that was cute what they were doing before. This is Maryland's time, y'all. And we're just going to move faster than everybody else and unapologetically. But in order for that to happen, it means everybody must be seen. Nothing about us without us. And in this moment, we are going to build policies and we are going to build a state where we leave no one behind. God bless you. Thank you. Keep fighting. Keep advocating. In this moment, we will win. Bless you guys, and thank you so much. You're always welcome at POG, sir. Likewise. It's good to see you again. God bless you.
We're not letting him leave yet. While he does this, I was not wrong about the passionate leader, right? If you didn't know that when you walked in and when I said it, you certainly do now. Governor, I'll add to my list that you not only lead with passion, but that you lead with love. We will not leave that out. So we do want to take a minute. Governor, thank you. No, you're fine. Thank you. Thank you again for your words, for your commitment, for your support. We are, on behalf of the DD Coalition, we are happy to present you with this artwork by Joe Harder. I'm going to show it in a minute. Joe is a lifelong resident of Havre de Grace. He has been a member of the ARC Northern Chesapeake region for over 20 years, serving on the board for 9 years. Believe it or not, and I'm going to show you this now, Governor.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
He is a self-taught artist, inspired by what catches his eye. So, Governor, on behalf of the DD Coalition, please accept this as our thanks and our appreciation.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Yeah. Take some pictures.
Everyone straight out. We got you. Thank you very much.
He's better looking. I love that. Yes. I love it. God bless you. This is going to my office. This is going to my office. And I want to invite you. We'll put up. I want to invite you so you can go take a look at it. Just in the wind. I will do. I will do.
Thank you, Joe. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Of course. Oh, yeah. Wait. I'm bring up. Oh, Joe. A little higher. Yeah.
Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
There you go.
Mrs. Hartman, do you want to come on stage with your son Carter?
Okay. Uh-oh, no, everybody's not here. All right. Okay. Okay. Time to go. Here it's all together. Carmen. Okay.
Are you gonna do a selfie? Have everybody
For her Instagram.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Take a picture. Oh, and go that way.
Okay. Let's have the excited.
Wait, I just have
What's that? Who's in the I thought it was. Wasn't grand one. No. All right, we're going to resume our program. If everyone could please take your seat, we'll let the governor get on with his day and resume our program.
Not working.
No, I was just giving one.
No, I'm it's funny. Yeah. Okay, okay. Okay, bye, Governor.
Thank you. Everybody, please give the governor a final round of applause.
Okay, Randy, do you want to?
All right, we're trying here, folks.
You can go ahead. Take one to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should.
So, folks, we're going to continue with our program here.
Advantage of like the court.
Try. Yeah.
It's okay. I am not.
In case you're wondering what's happening right now, thank you all for remaining seated. We are going to resume our program as soon as we can. I appreciate your patience.
Okay, folks, if we can come together, we can continue with our program. I know we all appreciate Governor Moore's time and the enthusiasm that everyone had. Okay, thank you. I know I can be a little soft-spoken, but if we can come back together. Yeah. Can we thank Governor Moore one more time? Great. Thank you, everyone. So to continue our program, Governor Moore already gave a great start to this introduction. While not originally from Maryland, she is an adopted Marylander. She is an alumni of Johns Hopkins, where she got her degree in special education. She's been devoted to this work for decades, and I'm happy and honored to introduce Secretary Carol Beatty for the Maryland Department of Disabilities.
Thank you, Randy. And so I have worked for Governor Moore for a little over a year. And I have to tell you, every time he speaks, I feel like I'm hearing it for the first time. And it's just the unlucky draw that I got that I'm following him. But I want to thank everybody for inviting me here today, and thanks the members of the DD Coalition for putting on another fantastic DD Day at the Legislature. I'm very glad that this group got to hear from Governor Moore and all of our legislative leaders. I think it indicates how important a priority this community is to the entire Moore-Miller administration, and that we ensure that we leave no one behind, including individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, their families, and their service providers. I'm honored to partner with all of you in the work to improve the lives of people and Marylanders with disabilities. I first want to acknowledge my cabinet colleague, Laura Herrera Scott, who's going to be speaking a little later. She is with with Maryland's Health Department. I want to thank you, Secretary, for your strong leadership in ensuring that quality services are available for all of our citizens with disabilities. And quite honestly, your focus on equity, access, and inclusion is truly energizing. Thank you. And I just want to say I am thrilled to work alongside my friend and trusted colleague, DDA's new Deputy Secretary, Marlena Hutchinson. I want you all to know what I know, that she is a strong and effective advocate. It was especially during the COVID pandemic, which is when I really got to know her the best and worked the most closely with her, that I became aware of what a tremendous advocate she is. And I look forward to partnering with you on many exciting opportunities over the next few years. I want to highlight a few current activities and efforts that the Department of Disabilities is working on with MDH and DDA and our other state agencies. Young people with IDD need the tools to succeed in the workplace, and they get those just like everybody else does through solid classroom instruction, internships, apprenticeships, and access to post-secondary education and lifelong learning opportunities. Opportunities for post-secondary education like those at Montgomery College and the TERPS Exceed program at the University of Maryland. And employment training opportunities like Project Search. Yeah. So hold on, because I'm going to call you out individually. These initiatives are critical to breaking through the barriers that keep people with disabilities from living the life that they choose to live in their communities of choice. And so partially funded by DDA, TERPS Exceed is an inclusive post-secondary education program at the University of Maryland, College Park, that provides Maryland students with IDD the opportunity to participate in a college experience for 2 years, which results then in a certificate. So I think we have some TERPS Exceed students here today, don't we? Can you shout out? Yeah, there you go. The governor also mentioned that in partnership with DDA, the Department of Labor, and DOORS, we have hired the first Project Search statewide coordinator, and I think we have some Project Search interns here or graduates. Where are they? And for those of you who don't know, Project Search is a program that gives students the opportunity to experience 3 internships in a host business during their last year of high school or quite soon after their high school experience. I'm also very proud of our department's work with Patty Saylor and our community partners on the Ethan Saylor Alliance. We are committed to improving the partnership between self-advocates and first responders and the police and law enforcement community to prevent more tragedies from occurring like Ethan's death. Please join us for a webinar on March 8th to learn more about the Ethan Saylor Alliance and how you as self-advocates can play a critical role in training police and helping them to understand you and your friends and to make sure that everyone is safe and understood. Maryland is really ready to build off the last 25 years of Olmsted and make this Maryland's decade for Marylanders with IDD. By the way, the department is celebrating its 20th anniversary in 2024, so stay tuned for the events that we'll be sponsoring and hosting. I also would like to take a moment to acknowledge Dr. Antoine Hickman, whom I have not met, but I would love to have a chance to talk with you. Maryland's new Assistant State Superintendent for Early Intervention and Special Education. We share a strong commitment to inclusive education and will continue to work together on many initiatives focusing on transition to school, post-secondary work, career, and so forth. So we're looking forward to working with you, Dr. Hickman. Another terrific collaboration we have with MSDE along with the ARC Maryland and the Maryland DD Council is the Together We're Better program through the school year. So you'll be hearing more about that shortly. And I just want to say, Randy, I'm going to turn this back over to you. And thank you for having me here today. And it's great, and have a great day of advocacy.
Okay. Hello again, everyone. Again, my name is Andy Culp, and I'm the Executive Director of the ARC Maryland, and I have the, thank you for that. I have the pleasure of announcing our Together We're Better Inclusive Schools artwork winners today. But before I do, I want to tell you a little bit about the program, and I think we might have a slideshow, but doesn't look like it's up. You can just use your imagination. The Together We're Better School Inclusion Program exists in a four-way partnership between the ARC Maryland. Oh, it's right there. Great. The Maryland Department of Disabilities, the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council, and the Maryland State Department of Education. And I'd like to invite Dr. Antoine Hickman up to the stage to help us with our presentations. Dr. Hickman is the Assistant State Superintendent for the Division of Early Intervention and Special Education Services. So thank you for being with us today. You also heard from Secretary Beatty from the Department of Disabilities, who's a great partner to us on this project. And Rachel London, who's here from the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council, is also a partner on this project. The program builds on principles of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Activities that are part of the program are designed to reduce barriers, reshape attitudes, and enhance students' sense of belonging in their school communities. And the program consists of a diversity celebration toolkit that we make available to the schools that have lesson plans in there for teachers and books that students can look up that depict students with disabilities and interacting with their peers and in positive ways. We also do school assemblies and presentations throughout the state, co-facilitated with a self-advocate to talk to kids about disabilities. And we do traveling art exhibits around the state. So you might have seen the artwork of the children in your local library. And we have our artwork and drawing contests. And we have several students that are here today, along with representatives from their schools and their parents. So please give them a round of applause for making this a priority to be here today. So now, without further ado, we're pleased to announce and congratulate students in their schools for their artwork that was selected for first through third place honors and honorable mentions. I'll announce elementary school honorees first. And as I call the student's name, I invite you to come up on stage and receive the certificate of recognition that we have for you. And in first, second, and third places, you also got a check for your school. To do inclusive things with that money, I hope. And we just want to honor you today. So here we go. First honorable mention, Javion Sweat, who's from third grade from Cascade Elementary School in Washington County. Yeah, let's go over here. Literally. Okay. Javion, is it Javon? Javion? Javion. Okay. Hi. Thank you for being here. We have some things. Here you go. Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
So we want to get your picture.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There's a photographer. We'll take one of you. There you go. And are your parents here? Where are they?
Sure. Want to move over just a little bit?
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Sit there.
Yeah. Yes, that's yours. Hi. Your parent?
Yes.
Yes,
that's it.
hi.
On the camera here.
Here, you want to get in
All right.
here with him? There you go. Great, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. What? Okay.
Oh, yes. I've been asked to remind parents that we would love it if you would come up on stage with your student. In third place, we have Allison, I'm going to get this wrong, Rolke. Yes? Fourth grade from Pleasant Valley Elementary School in Washington County. Oh, Washington County is really cleaning up.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations.
Big check. You want the big check.
There you go.
Okay. In second place, Kai Zimmerman, who's in fifth grade also from Pleasant Valley Elementary School in Washington County. Is Kai here? Oh, there's Kai.
Yes. Congratulations.
Got up 5:30 in the morning.
Oh. Congratulations. I think you told the wrong person that. Over. Congratulations. Want to go that way?
Yes, I and in first place for elementary school, Olivia Lerner, who's from third grade from Garrett Park Elementary School in Montgomery County.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Here's your, you move over towards the middle. And I'll be, I'll anchor the end. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah. They will have your seat. Hey, get a picture of that.
Brandon.
Her souls.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Beautiful. That's lovely. Here you go. You want to go that way? Congratulations.
And for middle school, starting with honorable mention, Kamika Uzwegbun, Uzwegbunam, I just want to pronounce it right, could not come today, but Kamika's from 8th grade from Urbana Middle School in Frederick County. In third place, Yufei Lee is a 6th grader from Ellicott Mills Middle School in Howard County. Did I pronounce it wrong? Is it Yufei? Okay, great.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Move over to the next school. There you go.
And in second place, we have Corinna Aroju sixth grade from Barnesville School of Arts and Sciences in Montgomery County.
Looks good. Congratulations. Congratulations. You move over to the little picture.
And in first place, Lucas Coaster, sixth grade from Northern Middle School in Washington County. There you go.
Hi. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And for high school, we do a high school drawing contest, and the drawings go into a coloring book that we produce for children to color that depict children with and without disabilities playing together. We have two honorable mentions, Connor Grabowski from 12th grade, Rising Sun High School, Cecil County.
Congratulations. There you go. There you go.
And Livia Urban, 11th grade, Academy of the Holy Cross, Montgomery County. And Olivia could not be here today, but let's give her a round of applause. In third place, Emily Alt, 12th grade, Kent Island High School, Queen Anne's County.
Congratulations. Here's your card and your pink chat. Yeah.
In second place, Olivia Webster, 12th grade, Hereford High School, Baltimore County.
I don't know. You introduced yourself. Hi, congratulations.
So much. Thank you, Kim, for this opportunity.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You.
Oh,
The middle.
thank you.
Be here.
Thank you. This opportunity.
You.
And in first place, Annabelle Messerly, 11th grade, Glenelg High School, Howard County.
Now. Yeah. Gosh. That's good. Congratulations, Jay Howard County. Let's check. Here's. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. There you go. Yep.
Thank you to all of the students, educators, the schools, your parents and families who have supported your work. And thank you all for your leadership and commitment to inclusion. We really appreciate what you're doing to move the dial in Maryland. Thank you. Matt.
My name is Matt Rice. I am the Executive Director of People on the Go Maryland, Maryland's statewide self-advocacy organization ran for and by those with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. Today, I have the distinct honor of introducing the Secretary of the Department of Health, Dr. Laura Herrera Scott. Dr. Laura Herrera Scott has led the Department of Health for the past year. And prior to that, she served in the department as the deputy secretary, of public health services. She received a doctorate of medicine from Johns Hopkins University and a master's degree in public health science from the the University of SUNY Health Science in Brooklyn, New York. I'm sorry, that's a little bit of a mouthful. Suffice it to say, Dr. Laura Herrera Scott is she provides a wealth of experience to our state. She is a former veteran of the U.S. Army Reserves, where she served as a major in the medical corps. She served as the director for population health at Summit Health. Over this past year, it's been a privilege for the DD Coalition to get to know Dr. Laura Herrera Scott. She is truly committed to building a state that is inclusive of direct supporters, their families, and the people getting support. Dr. Herrera Scott, on behalf of the DD Coalition, I welcome you, and we look forward to building a state where no one is left behind. Thank you.
I think he got the whole bio. I'm thoroughly impressed. But just to qualify, MPH from Hopkins, MD from downstate Brooklyn. So, and even though I wasn't born and raised here, I proudly call Maryland my home. I'm one of those that transplanted for residency, loved it, stayed, and raised my family here. So I feel fortunate not only to be in the state of Maryland, but serve in the role that I am. And for all the red sweatshirts related to the Special Olympics, I was really, really excited to see you guys. When I was in high school, I volunteered every year with the Special Olympics, and I know it's all the work you do and all the events you plan are just incredible. So really excited to see the group here. So as was already said, Secretary of Health, we've been in the role for a year. We're 13 months now. It's hard to believe that it's, gone this quickly. And besides behavioral health, the Disabilities Administration has been a priority for me and the work that we've been doing.
And just as a reminder, DDA supports over 25,000 people with intellectual and developmental disabilities through 3 home and community-based waiver programs. Collectively, these waivers include 52 services and supports covered by one or more of the waivers. But what I have learned, besides the details of what I just said, is we've created a pretty complex system of care. And so one of the things that we will be working on over the next year and that we started to work on last year is decreasing that administrative complexity. When I was talking to a national advocate, they described some of our services as getting through the door has been a function of affluence and educational background, and we need to do better than that to make sure that everyone who needs access to our services can access our services. In addition, as was already mentioned, I've been very, very focused on health equity and access to services. As a Latina female, first to graduate in our family from college and certainly medical school, I'm fully aware of our Black and Brown communities not having equitable access to services. And just as we see in the regular delivery system, it holds true in the behavioral health side of the fence, and it holds true in the disability side of the fence. And just to cite some references from our own statistics, which I've been looking at differently as we think about not only the administrative complexity, but also access. Hispanics comprise about 19% of the state's population per our 2020 census, yet they only utilize 1% of traditional services and a little less than 2% through the self-direction model. That has to change. We know language is a barrier, but other services are a barrier as well. The data suggests similar racial and ethnic disparities exist when looking at the size of participant budgets, especially for our Black and Brown families. So we need to change that as well. And we want to ensure that every Marylander, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, socioeconomic, and educational background, should have the same access to quality healthcare and services in the Disabilities Administration. So something we will be working on very closely. And last, we know we have a workforce issue, especially among our direct service providers. There are over 15,000 direct support professionals in Maryland supporting people with intellectual disabilities, and 71 or almost 72% of them are from Black and Brown communities. As part of the bold vision to leave no Maryland behind, Governor Moore has accelerated minimum wage increases across the state, but that's not enough. We know we still have work to do, with over 75% of our direct support professionals working full-time, often have other jobs to make ends meet. And we need to ensure that we have clear career ladders for our direct support professionals in our waiver programs. Yes. So we do have some money that was built into the budget. The governor recognizes that this is work that needs to happen, and we have $10 million in the budget to do this work. And we certainly hope, in collaboration with the DD Coalition, to figure out next steps and what that looks like and have a path forward for direct support workers. So questions that I will leave you with, that I'm leaving soon. You'll meet Marlena Hutchinson and you'll be excited to hear her speak, but certainly the charge that I've been leaving with our team in the department is how do we continually actively take a deeper dive into system design to assist participants and families with navigating our complex healthcare system? And then as we do that, how do we work with community partners, state agencies, not just Department of Disability, but Department of Human Services, and certainly the Maryland State Department of Education, as well as families and providers and direct support professionals, to build a holistic community-based support network. So that's certainly the charge we will be taking. And then lastly, as we think internally around the Disabilities Administration, Bernie Simons, as you know, was the leader for many years and he retired.
And, after doing a national search and learning the assets we had in the department, it was right under our nose the whole time that the leader of the Disabilities Administration was a committed state employee who not only had the institutional knowledge around the waivers that we had, but her finesse in dealing with stakeholders and with CMS and really a true understanding and partner with the Disabilities Administration was evident. So I'm very excited then when we approached Marlena Hutchinson to be the new Deputy Secretary of the Disabilities Administration, she said yes. And I am thankful every day that she did say yes. So I know she'll be formally introduced, but thank you everyone for your attention. Thank you for all you do, and look forward to working harder, even harder this year to accomplish what we need to accomplish for Disabilities Administration. Thank you.
Once again, already started a great introduction. So I have the pleasure of introducing our new Deputy Secretary for the Developmental Disabilities Administration, Marlena Hutchinson. I've had the pleasure of working with Marlena for several years now, and I think she is a true example of working your way from the bottom to the top. You've touched everything within the Department of Health since your time there, starting in 1994. Marlena comes from the long-term services and support side, and I know she's going to bring her expertise in improving DDA and the services that we all depend on and ensure that folks are served. So Marlena, with that, please come up, and appreciate you being here with us today.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. So thank you so much for that kind introduction, Randy. And thank you so much, Rachel and the DD Coalition for having us here today. We really appreciate the warm welcome that we've received. So a little bit about me, as you heard, Randy just mentioned that I've been working with the department since 1994. Much of my work has been in the Medicaid administration, in the long-term service and support side. With that, with my time served in the Medicaid administration, I have extensive experience with home and community-based services programs, and those programs include the 3 DDA operated programs. These programs operated by my amazing team, the Community Pathways, Community Supports, and Family Supports programs. While working at the Medicaid administration, I had the privilege of working with the DD Coalition, as well as our national partners, the National Association for State Disability Directors in my former role. I worked very closely also with Secretary Beatty in the Department of Disabilities during our unwinding efforts, known as the Appendix K. As the new Deputy Secretary of DDA, because yes, I've been working with the department since 1994. I've been in this role since January 10th. I am fully committed to working alongside the governor, our partners, and so forth, and making certain that no Marylander is left behind. How are we going to do this? We are going to be true champions of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and not just saying those things, but practicing it in our daily work. We're going to be data-driven, outcome-driven, and also managing for results. We're going to ensure access to quality services and supports for all. We're going to complete an end-to-end process mapping. As our secretary said earlier, we have a little bit of a complex system now. We're in the process of completing a process map to make certain that any of those complexities and nuances are addressed. We're going to create greater transparency, working very closely with you all, and reduce ambiguity. We're also heavily focused on building stakeholder trust, working with you, understanding your needs, and making certain that we're doing our best to meet them. We're going to support collaborative engagements with the DD Coalition, the Maryland Department of Disabilities, the Maryland Department of Aging, the Maryland State Department of Education, our families, our providers, everyone who's a part of this important network to make certain that these services are provided to all. We're also working very closely with our partners on our rate system. When we talk about building a career ladder for our providers, we need to make certain that the rates are sufficient and that the rates will support a career ladder. I'm also very proud to announce that with our partnership with the Behavioral Health Administration and the Maryland Department of Disabilities, we were recently notified by the National Association of State Directors of Developmental Disability Services that Maryland is one of 5 states selected to participate in the Policy Academy to support crisis services to ensure optimal coordination for children and adults with co-occurring cognitive disabilities and behavioral health conditions. These efforts will include increasing awareness of 988, building infrastructure and capacity, developing regulations for mobile crisis teams and behavioral health crisis stabilization centers, conducting training across the state for diverse populations, and increasing capacity and improving transitions for people with higher level needs of care. Again, through this partnership, the DDA and our internal partners will be able to strengthen the existing relationships that have been in place, and especially with the Department of Disabilities. Thank you so much, Secretary Beatty, so that we make certain that no Marylander, no one is left behind. I think you've heard from my secretary and as well as the Secretary of Developmental of Disabilities, my apologies, that we have a lot that's going on right now. We have, in this next fiscal year, you might be aware that the governor has proposed in its 2025 allowance that the DDA will receive more than $2.1 billion to support Marylanders with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This funding includes a 3% rate increase for providers, and also will give us an opportunity to expand our existing services. So what I can leave you with right now is, please be assured, my team and I, we are very committed to working with you, to partnering with you, learning with you, and growing with you as we work together to make certain that everyone with intellectual and developmental disabilities is a part of our system, benefiting from that system, working in that system, and will not be left behind. Thank you so much for having us here today.
All right, I'm back. How about one last thank you for our representatives from the administration, Secretary Kilbeatty, Secretary Laura Herrera-Scott, and Deputy Secretary Marlena Hutchinson. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the budget. And just so you know, we know you've been sitting for a long time. There's been a lot of excitement. Now we're going to get to the nitty gritty. So try to stay with us just a little bit longer, because all those things legislators, and we talked about advocacy, that's why we're here. We're going to talk a little bit about what you need to know as you go to meet with legislators. So I am going to talk about just very briefly the budget, what's in the budget. I thought the Deputy Secretary was going to say all of it and then I could skip it, but I'm going to touch on a few things. So in your packet, you have a lavender sheet, and that's the sheet that has particularly the DDA, the Developmental Disabilities Administration, budget highlights for this coming year. So the legislature is working on this budget right now as we speak. So as Marlena mentioned, there's a 3% rate increase for community supports and services. And so that is a much needed increase in funding related to helping to cover the cost of inflation for all of the costs of providing supports and services. And so that's kind of goes into the rate system for all the people who are getting supports now and people who will come into DDA services. The next several items are expansion. So that's also new money, but it's to extend supports and services to new people who aren't currently getting them. So the first one listed is transitioning youth. There's $14.2 million, and that is to fully fund supports and services for all of the transitioning youth, estimated to be 566 this year, who transition out of the school system at the age of 21 and will have supports that they need as they come out of school. The next one listed is emergencies, 13.9 million for 38 people. That's critical because those are the folks who typically nobody knows about. They're not on the waiting list. They're probably not in a crisis resolution category. It just never got sort of connected. And all of a sudden, there's an emergency. A caregiver dies or becomes sick and is unable to continue to provide supports. So that funding is critical in the budget to make sure that there's something there for those folks. The next one is the waiting list. There's 14.2 million for 212 people in the two crisis categories, crisis resolution and crisis prevention. So they're on the waiting list and they've been identified as absolutely needing supports in the next 6 to 12 months, to be in a crisis in the next 6 to 12 months, and they need services now. I remember, because I've been around a long time, when there was no money for the waiting list. And, even to get a little bit was a big win. So to have 14.2 million in there is really fantastic. There's a little bit of money out of what's called the Waiting List Equity Fund. And we won't go into all the details about that, but it's a little over $1 million for 27 people on the waiting list. And that is specifically for prioritizing the oldest caregivers. So we all know there are caregivers out there, 80, 90 years old, who are on the waiting list. This money is to help move those folks off the waiting list and to get the supports they need. All of that is expansion of bringing new people into services. The next one, low intensity support services, LISS, as a lot of people call it, this is continuing the $5.5 million. That's for funding for people who aren't already getting services. And they're small amounts of money. A lot of people use them for camps and different types of assistance for families in particular. And then the last one is housing. There's been a lot of work on helping people access affordable housing. So we were very happy to see the $1 million in the budget FY25 for a rental subsidy for people to help people move into their own home. And I guess the important thing to know is the governor, who was just here, you may have noticed, I don't know if you noticed, that Governor Moore was here. I mean, he slipped in and slipped out. It was hard to see him, but he was here and he put all of these things in his budget. Those legislators who were here first, and we kept saying they're on the budget committees, they now review this and decide whether to keep this funding or cut it. And so if you have meetings with a budget committee member today, you want to take your sheet and say, we know it's a tough budget year, but we really need you to keep all this funding in the budget. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. All right, a couple more things. On your yellow sheet, for those of you that have packets and are using them, talk about a few things that support children with disabilities and their families. And of course, this is not all there is, right? There are thousands of bills. So there are more, but these are a couple of the priority ones. So you've heard a lot about parks and playgrounds and inclusivity and how kids should all be able to learn and play together. And that is the first bill on your list, House Bill 420. helps with that. And it requires communication boards when the state is constructing or renovating any existing playground. So creating a new one or renovating one that already exists. And you know how they promote accessibility and inclusivity. In fact, I think the governor talked quite a bit about that. The sponsor made an amendment to the definition of communication board to make sure it represented all the things and all of the ways people want to communicate and need to communicate. So it will include words and braille, not just photos, symbols, or illustrations. And we supported the sponsor in those amendments. The second bill is House Bill 901 and Senate Bill, and I apologize, there is a typo on your thing, but it's 769. Sorry about that. And this bill has a hearing actually next week and would make it easier for people to get the scholarships that the senators and delegates offer. So I don't know if you know this, but you can apply through a scholarship for higher education. So for college classes, things like that, and they will give you a scholarship. Right now, you have to take 6 credits to get one of those scholarships. This bill will allow that to be waived for certain people. If you can't take 6 credits, if you can only take 3 credits, you should be able to still get the scholarship. So we're excited about that. And finally, you heard Chair Atterbury talk a lot about the last bill. She also said there was a hearing today about the access to attorneys, advocates, and consultants. I can't do better than her summary, but there is more information here about that bill for you.
Okay, we're in the final stretch. So I'm going to be covering the pink form about individuals' services and rights. So if you take away any 2 words from this sheet, it's word or a few words. Words matter and financial security. So I'm going to start with House Bill 432. That's the second bill on the front of the page. And that is really coming up to ensure that the language that the courts use are appropriate. So back in 2009, Rosa's law passed in order to remove words like mental retardation and use more appropriate terms like intellectual disabilities. And so words matter. And so having updates like this to our Maryland laws are important. The next bill I'll touch on about words is on the back, the second, House Bill 60. And so this is changing the word disability within the rehab services, so doors. And so Maryland, again, is just coming into compliance or matching federal law. And so, again, ensuring that the terms are appropriate and we're defining disability correctly. Next, everyone deserves to be financially secure. And so staying on the back, House Bill 1163, and this is Senate Bill 859. This is ensuring that the DOORS, Division of Rehabilitation Services, receive the appropriate state match funds so that people are able to be supported in their placements and employment. And lastly, we have House Bill 336, Senate Bill 592. And so if you're not familiar with the ABLE program, this was a huge law that passed that allows for more financial security for people with disabilities. Unfortunately, our benefit system is set up in a way that really disincentivizes folks from saving and being financially secure. And so part of this bill will ensure that through the IEP and 504 program and services that students and families are properly educated on ABLE accounts. So with that, I will hand it over to Andy.
Thanks, Brandy. I'm going to go over your green sheet in your packet on voting rights. So the following bills would make voting, we believe, harder for people with disabilities, and that concerns us. House Bill 202, election law absentee ballots, signature requirement and verification, and House Bill 142, election law polling places, establishing voter identity. That's because people with disabilities are more likely to vote by absentee ballot and twice as likely to not have a government issued ID. So any kind of ID verification ends up shutting a lot of people with disabilities out. The next three bills would make in-person voting easier and more accessible for people with disabilities. That's House Bill 641, election law, curbside voting, which would require each local board of elections to designate an outside location that's suitable for someone to drive up in a car or pull up in a vehicle and vote from the comfort of their vehicle. House Bill 1342 on the backside, election law, ballot questions, publication of proposed laws, and plain language summaries. As Randy said, words matter, and we need to be able to understand them to know what we're voting for. So plain language is very important to us, and we believe that this bill would help enhance communication for people to understand what they're voting for. House Bill 1343, Senate Bill 495, election law, petitions and ballot questions, plain language requirement. Again, this is another plain language bill that would help people with disability, really all of us, better understand what we're voting for. Things should be in plain language for everyone. So that's it for our fact sheets, and Matt's going to close us out.
Good. Yeah, close enough. You think?
You close now? Yeah.
No, I said, am I close enough?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Hello again. Here we are, another Developmental Disabilities Day, here and gone. And as we close out today, I like to take the opportunity to reflect on each Developmental Disabilities Day as it passes. So I'd like to take the opportunity to do that personally and to invite you, my 700 plus friends and those on Facebook, to do so now. It has been 25 years since the landmark Olmsted Supreme Court decision was stated that community should be the first option for people with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. So Governor Moore talked earlier about freedom and leaving no one behind. That is what the principle of Olmsted has given us. And it's up to us to carry that forward for the next 25 years. So how do we do that? We do that by investing in community, not just in the financial sense, but through our personal actions. We see that in the commitment our legislators have made to issues like voting rights, the access to education, which will allow the next generation of Marylanders to become more productive citizens and achieve the goals and lives they want for themselves. We see this investment in community through the hard work of our direct support professionals that either help people get into or remain in the communities they choose for themselves. We see this investment in community through the investment that we have made in the Developmental Disabilities Administration budget, which allows people with disabilities to live where they want, participate in the community how they want, and be employed, really have valued social roles that our peers without disabilities take for granted. And we see this continual investment in community by the commitment others have made here today to invest in our direct support professionals so that they can continue doing the jobs that they love and make an honest wage to support themselves and their families. We see the investment in community towards making the eligibility process fair and equitable for those getting supports, um, their families, and really all Marylanders. We are committed to making the next 25 years stand out to where that no one gets left behind and Maryland is more inclusive. So when you talk to your legislators today, we want you to tell them commit to investing in the DDA budget, sustain what the governor has agreed to, and commit to the next 25 years so that we can all create a state that we can be proud of, where no one is left behind. Here's to the next 25 years. You're ready, you're strong, your time is now. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to all of our partners. Thank you to the people of the GO membership. Thank you.
You know, we get a picture of all of us. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.